encourage you tonight. Listen. Exceedingly, abundantly, above all you could ask or think, according to, hey, the power that worketh in you. You and me, lift those hands. Listen, y'all. God is able to do just what he said he would do. He's gonna fulfill every promise to you.
Oh, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Heart Talk with Mabel Obi. Some things are supposed to be handled heart to heart. Well, I want to talk a little about marriage. Marriage is not a bed of roses. Marriage is not for the impatient. Marriage is not even for the immature. Marriage is not an end in itself. Marriage is not self-sustaining in itself. Marriage is hard work. Marriage is good. Yes. But it comes with a lot of responsibilities. Some people who are married want out. Some people who are married want divorce. Some people, a majority of people are not married, want in. Now, some of those singles just feel that I want to be called a Mrs. Somebody. It comes with respect. Some feel that I also want to wear a wedding ring. It comes with respect, you know. But marriage is not just about being called Mrs. Somebody or a wedding ring. It comes with a lot of responsibilities. And if you, listening to me, believe that marriage is for a lifetime, then you take time to prepare for it as well. And you would want to take time to make the right choices in life. Well, before you get married, there are a few things to consider. And for this particular video, we are talking about family culture or family values. A person's family contributes a lot to who he or she is in life. The family from which you came has contributed a lot to who you are today. Now, you cannot get married to somebody without those things, values, cultures buried in him or her. You want to know whether the person you are getting married to comes from a polygamous home. Yes, love is very important, love. But that same love should drive you to make the necessary findings. That same love should drive you to make your necessary research in order to prepare yourself before you say, I do. I do comes with a lot of responsibilities. So you want to find out, yes, does he or she come from a polygamous home? Why do you want to know that? Firstly, a polygamous home, depending on how they were brought up, most people from polygamous homes are self-centered, are selfish. Why? Because it is survival of the fittest. You know, most children from polygamous home want to suppress the others in order to be the best. You know, that tendency goes into the home. Here is what I always think. A person does not behave in the way he or she behaves because of the situation facing him. The person behaves the way he or she behaves because of who she is or because of who he is. So you really want to know who this person is. The container is very important, but the content is more important. So what you are looking for is the content. The container could be very beautiful, very handsome, but what is the content? Now, people from polygamous homes, at times, they begin saying that polygamy is good. When they are married 5 to 10 years, challenges start coming. And they begin saying, I can now understand why my father married 5 wives. It is because women are very foolish. Why? Because he came from a polygamous home. Those who don't come from a polygamous home can easily condemn polygamy. So you discover that people from polygamous homes are the ones who easily become polygamists themselves. You equally want to find out their birth position. Why? Birth position is important because it equally contributes to your marriage. For example, the first children are surrogate parents, they are assistant parents, first children. They take responsibility all the time. They give instructions here and there. It is not in every case. They give instructions here and there. So when they get married, whether man or woman, they just want to give instructions here and there. And secondly, since they are surrogate parents, they just want to take responsibility of all their family members. Because in the absence of their parents, they were the parents. That is why you want to find out the birth position. And if you're getting married to someone's last child, the last children are so that they are always dependent. They are usually naughty. They usually are comfortable with everybody doing something for them. So if they get married, that character has already been built in them. Before you know it, they just sit there and they are expecting that everybody should do something for them. Why? Because that is how he or she has been brought up. Now, what again about family? You also want to know whether this person is important to know whether the person comes from a broken home, whether the parents separated or whether they divorced. You want to understand, because such people come with a lot of hurts. They are hurting within. They really are hurting. So usually they enter marriage, they say they love you, but trust is an issue with people like that. Trust is an issue. So you equally want to know whether they come from broken homes. And then, if they equally come from broken homes, who did they live with, their father or their mother? And did they live with a stepmother or a stepfather? And how did these people handle them? Because somebody lives with a stepmother because the father got married to another wife and the mother is around, the stepmother starts maltreating that person. The stepmother, for example, I'm just giving an example, the stepmother starts saying, start shutting him down, start shutting her down. So they don't have self-esteem. They don't have self-confidence. They are unable to speak for themselves. So even when they get married, be rest assured that they will always stay quiet because they were trained to stay quiet from their family. Another issue is, this person you're getting married to, is he or she an orphan? What comes with orphan? They are usually lonely. They usually want to be by themselves. They usually do not trust anybody. If they are orphans, who did they live with? Did they live in an orphanage? Okay. Did they live with their grandparents? Did they live with their grandparents? And, did they live with aunties? Or who did they actually live with? The orphans are always feeling neglected. They just have that tendency. They just always feel that nobody can love them. If their parents were alive, their lives would have been better. So you want to work very hard to win the love of such persons. Does the person you want to marry, come from an abusive home? Was her father beating her mother? Was her mother beating her father? Was there sexual abuse in that home? Let me tell you something. Abused people have the tendency to abuse others. So if his father was beating his mother, the day will come he would want to beat. Why? Because that is how he has seen things. And he will be thinking, I can now understand why my father was beating my mother. Because women are very naughty. Because women are very stubborn. Because women are not submissive at all. They beat them. But if they come from a home where the father was not beating, they will hardly beat their wives. And in such a home where there is domestic violence, the mother is usually quarrelsome. Usually, not always. There are always exceptions to every rule. The mother is usually quarrelsome. She wants to speak back because that is where her own strength is. She talks back to the man and the man beats. She talks back and the man beats. So guess what? The girl children get up to defend themselves by being quarrelsome, by talking, by shouting, by fighting back. And the boy children learn how to beat and beat and beat and batter. So you even find that even when such children go to school, they're just wild. They're just careless with their mouths. They just run their mouths anyhow. And the boy children just beat at the slightest irritation, they just slap. Because that's what they see their father doing. So in effect, when they get married, that is what happens at home. That is what happens at home. So it takes a lot of, why do you want to find out some of these things? Does it mean that if you discover that the person is like that, you will not want to marry the person? No. It is not like, no, don't marry him, don't marry her. But here is where premarital counseling comes in. Because you want to find out who he or she is before marrying him or her. Now, when you find out and you see those ugly aspects, you want to deal with them before you get married. And if you're getting married, it therefore means you are accepting what you saw. Some people see signs, some people see these wild tendencies, but yet they choose to get married. They think it will just go with marriage. No, it will instead multiply. Marriage has a way of squeezing you and bringing out the worst of you. So if a man is the one that is beating you when you are not yet married, he will beat you more because he will feel that you are you are his wife, so he has the right to beat you. You are his wife, so he So when you are not married, that is the best time to put some things in order. That is why you are going in search of these things. That is why premarital counseling is very, very important, because you'll be led on how to find out such things, and you would want to know, because some people, again, maybe I should add this, some people come from a home, some boys come from a home where the father never cooked, the father never washed dresses, the father never swept the home, the father did not even make up the bed, the father was a king, the father was a boss. And then the girl could come from a home where the boys were trained to cook as well as the girls. All the children were trained to mop the floor, to wash dresses, to make up their beds, to do house chores. So when she comes in, she just imagines that the man will just do like her brothers are doing, or the man will do like her parents trained her own brothers. And unfortunately for her, she comes and faces this thing. It's a rude shock, But if you people go through counseling, premarital counseling, you would discover that the man doesn't want to cook. He doesn't see that he should wash dresses, or some of those house chores like that. So I would particularly end this session here. As time goes on, we are not talking only about family culture. There are other things that you should put in place, but we can't talk about everything now today. Well, it's always good to take a preventive measure than to take curative measures. At times, the treatment you want to take might not be able to heal you. But if you take those measures that will prevent some of these things, they will not take place in your home. Marriage is a sweet thing. Marriage is a good thing. Marriage is a wonderful thing. It's a thing instituted by God, and He wants the best for you, and I equally want the best for you. So we'll talk more and more. Once more, this is Heart to Heart Talk with Mabel Obeng. Hi.
I'm going to encourage you tonight. Listen. Exceedingly, abundantly, above